Hello, classmates. My name is Roberto Moran from 1408 Biology. And today in this PowerPoint, I'll be talking about terraforming Mars. What is terraforming, you might be asking? Well, to put it in simple terms, it's a transformation of a planet, moon, or gas planet that we can do, us human can do possibly, if it's be able to be habitable, at the very least. If it's not, we can't do anything. That is our technology's fault, and ours too, as well as our brains. But what do we need? What needed to be altered? Well, that would be temperature, pressure, oxygen, water, and radiation. The likes. Now, we're going to be starting with terraforming process, and we're going to start off with temperature. Now, currently in Mars, the temperatures are -60 Celsius, to be exact. But we need to change that. And in order to do that, we would need to introduce greenhouse gases, more specifically a solar sail, so we can melt down the freezing temperatures of Mars from at least southern polar cap and northern polar cap, and to release more carbon dioxide. In order to do that, we need to put in 70 degrees Celsius at the very least to melt all the ice. But in order for us to live in there, it must be 0 to 30 Celsius at the very least. As well as putting microorganisms, the little small bacteria that can take carbon dioxide and spit out oxygen, and methane or ammonia, possibly the other two. Now, the next step of terraforming process is the pressure. Currently in Mars, it has 1% of Earth's sea level. That's 8 millibars, which would still require pressure suits. And this can be increased by thickening the atmosphere. And from the carbon dioxide from all the south polar cap, we can be able to do that, as well as the loose fragments materials, otherwise known as regolf, will give pressure of, let's say, 300 millibars, 1/3 of Earth's sea level. And the greenhouse effects will considerably help in getting that pressure of, let's say, 1/8 to twice the times of that of Earth's. The next step would be getting oxygen. Right now, on Mars, currently it is 95% of carbon dioxide. And in order to at least breathe the environment, we need oxygen masks. Definitely required for that one. But in order to change that, we will need to start planting photosynthetic plants through genetic engineering. Change the plants so the plants can be able to survive the harsh environment of Mars, as well as photosynthetic microorganisms, a few resistant bacterial species that can survive the harsh environment of Mars as well. The next step is water. Plants cannot survive without water. But in the past, before we had discovered, well, after we had discovered Mars, there was liquid. Truly, there was liquid in the past. Although, today there are none. It's a dry desert planet. But we can change that. Through the greenhouse effect, we can heat the north and south polar cap so we can create a lot more water. And in case if we need more, we can just dig underground and get underground water reserves. And the last step of the terraforming process is radiation. We wouldn't be able to survive the surface of Mars of its radiation, even with the suits on. We would just be cooking inside out. The suit will protect us from radiation, but once we're out of the suit, inside of the structure of Mars, we will still burn. So, creating the atmosphere, once that has been thickened, we will have at least, even if it's a little bit, protection from radiation. Let's say like UV rays, solar flares, and cosmic rays. But this is the moment of truth. The time. How much time will it take to terraform all of Mars? And that's, we're gonna go from top to bottom. The greenhouse would probably take centuries. Yes, centuries. It's a planet. And time to create the greenhouse effect would take more than centuries. And, well, for pressure and temperature, possibly a few decades to a lot of centuries. Well, at least centuries. We can be able to do that if we can take the time to be able to change and put our dedication into it. But here's the long road. For plants to decrease albedo, it'll be to 100 years through 10 millennium. That is a lot of years. But get this, to have at least the whole planet to be oxidized with oxygen would take several centuries to 100 millennia. We won't be able to survive that long to see the day where Mars can be just like Earth. But there's one thing that we can see is the melting of South Polar Cap. We can at least see the water be flown into the planet. And that would take a decade just to melt it all. But the most cost-effective will become financially possible as our technology increases. Better ideas that our brains can come up with, at least our scientists can. And as technology increases, more efficient methods can be able to come to light as well. And our interest would increase. Government and public support will be necessary in order for this whole planet to be ours. At the very least. And as technology interest increases, so our proficiency accumulated. Better accuracy, more controlled greenhouses, and better prognosis. And now, from here on out, I will be reading from the... From here on out, I will be reading from the slides from now on. Now, colonization. Once the pressure and temperature on Mars have been altered by terraforming process, it will be so much easier for large numbers of explorers to move to Mars and to start a colony. Once dome-like residential structures have been made, plants can be grown that will produce acceptable oxygen levels in these enclosed areas. Since planet-wide oxygen levels will take a longer time than expected to arrive at Earth-like levels, colonists will require oxygen masks and pressure suits for outdoor excursions. Unless we wait until technology has advanced, Martian colonists will be on their own to construct a comfortable living environment. And that will be the first stages of terraformation. And last but not least, time ahead in space. The act of terraforming Mars will automatically increase our interaction with the rest of space. New ideas will have been explored as we choose the best process of terraforming. Technology advancements specifically aiming towards the terraforming project will be used for other exploration projects. If we attempt to terraform Mars, it will either be a total flop or will be successfully subsistence. Thank you for listening to my terrible, terrible thing for this project. I hope you all liked it and have a little bit of entertainment here and there. But that'll be all for today. Thank you for listening, and I might see you next time. Bye bye.